Welcome viewers in Edutainment YouTube channel. Today I am Tapan Kumar Kundu going to discuss a poem, The Darkling Thrush, written by Thomas Hardy, a Victorian poet. This Darkling Thrush was written in Victorian age, and we will get the picture of that period. And thrush is a kind of bird, can be seen in England in the cold countries. Thomas Hardy was mainly a novelist. He wrote many important novels like Under the Greenwood Tree, A Pair of Blue Eyes, Far from the Madding Crowd, The Return of the Native, The Mayor of Casterbridge, The Woodlanders, and The Taste of D'Urbervilles. All these are very important for the students of English literature. But today our topic is to discuss a poem. Hardy was not primarily or mainly a poet, but he wrote many poems. The most important among those is Darkling Thrush. Readers, I will explain and read the text also. But beforehand we should grasp some primary information, primary things about the poem. The Darkling Thrush is a meditative poem by Thomas Hardy in which he describes the dying of the old world at the turn of the century. He talks about the end of the 19th century and beginning of the 20th century because of the industrial revolution and the changes brought about by it in society. And we know that Victorian England was the period when industry was flourishing, and by its society, policy, economy and religious beliefs, he feels that all his changes, civilization has decayed and he does not know what will replace it. And the poet is in confusion and he cannot realize what will be the actual fixed point of culture, because industry is gradually increasing and people are becoming more emotionless, and emotion was going out of the mind of the people, and in its place industry is being flourished, and he was very sad at that point of time. He is deeply depressed by this state of affairs. He hears a thrush singing joyfully, which baffles him to think about the causes that makes the bird so happy in such a gloomy atmosphere. And in that time the poet could hear the singing of the thrush, and he is thinking what is the source, what is the mystery of the source of the singing a joyful song of the bird, whereas he cannot rest himself by watching the surroundings of the society, happening of the society. The bird's singing has a hope which the poet does not have, but he longs for it. The poet finds something far more deeply interfused in the mind of the thrush, which is in the darkness and which is not visible, which is in the darkling. That means in the darkness. The body of the bird is not being seen, cannot be seen, but only its song is coming out, only its song. The hopeful melody is heard by the poet. Now we should see some key points, and those points will give us an overall view of the poem. The speaker on a first evening is leaning on a gate which leads to a small forest. This is the setting. While the speaker is outside on a barren landscape, the rest of the world is comfortably inside, warmed by their household fires. The sharp outlines of the winter landscape seem to the speaker like the sharp features of the corpse of the dying 19th century. The very processes of nature are at a standstill. Every spirit on the planet seems as lifeless as the speaker. A bird suddenly appears and sings a song, disrupting the silence of death. The speaker is unaware of the cause that makes the bird so happy in such a stark landscape. Here, a stark landscape means the land of England. The old and frail bird had some secret in mind that poet cannot realize, but only hope for, blessed hope. And this blessed hope is in the mind of the bird, which the poet does not have and longs for. Now, what is the form of the poem? The Darkling Thrush is a lyric poem. What is lyric poem? The poem having some musicality, musical touch, and it also can be sung with the music, with the musical instrument. It has 4 stanzas and each stanza has 8 lines with an A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D. This is the rhyme scheme. First line is A, third line is A. That means first line is rhyming with the third and second line is rhyming with the fourth. I will show you while discussing the text. This is the rhyming scheme. It is written in iambic pentameter. What is iambic pentameter? This kind of scheme where first syllable is unstressed and second syllable is stressed. First syllable is unstressed and second syllable is stressed. As for example, apart, A-P-A-R-T, part. Here part is stressed and is unstressed because is the affix, is the prefix. Part. Last is stressed. This is the iambic. And pentameter means this is another thing which has the 5 meter. Now, what are the themes of Darkling Thrush? The first theme, the number 1, that is the nature. The natural description we will get, and the setting is in the midst of nature. And another theme is search for meaning of the song of the bird, and what is the implication, what is the message of the bird singing. And this is the theme. The poet is searching the meaning of the song of the bird, and what is the mystery of the song of the bird the poet is searching for. Now let's have a brief look of the short analysis of the poem. Thomas Hardy's novel often overshadowed his poetry. His poetry was not so much important as his novel. Although a handful of poems from his vast poetic output remain popular in verse anthologies. One such case is The Darkling Thrush, a great winter poem. So, we will see the setting is in the winter season of this poem, which was first published in 29 December 1900. This is the actual or real date of publication of this poem, 29 December 1900. Poised on the cuffs of the new year, and it is the emergence, beginning of the new year and ending of the another previous year. And Hardy reflects on this poem on the events of 19th century and the past year, that is the 19th century. Hardy reflects on this, his own feelings about the future. First one, about the future he is very anxious of, and his attitude. Second, his attitude to nature. The Darkling Thrush open with the ending, the end of the year, the end of the day. The awakening eye of the day hits the poem at the dusk, evening. The poem is written or is set in the last day of the previous year, that is the ending of the year. Even the end of the century, the another century is going back. The original title of the poem was The Century's End, 1900. This was the original title, first title of this poem. Later, it is changed into Darkling Thrush. But firstly, the title was The Century's End, 1900. For many, including Hardy, the 20th century only really began in 1901. But every ending is also a beginning of some sort. Ending is not the giving the sorrow, but ending gives us the new beginning. It is also the hope, beginning of the hope of the new year. It is not only the grief of the ending of the past year. A limit marking the end of the one thing and the start of the another. Let's go for the text and see the first stanza. I leaned upon a coffee gate. The poet is bending upon a coffee gate. And here darkling means in darkness or darkening. The thrush, the bird is in the dark. The poet cannot see the physique of the bird. This is the first person narrative, I. The poet leaned, that is bent upon the coffee gate. What is the coffee gate? It is an area of woodland in which trees are periodically cut to stimulate growth and provide firewood or timber. This is the landscape, and in the gate of this landscape, the poet is leaning to see something. And here the leaning gives us the implication of the searching. I told you the theme. What is the theme of this poem? That is the searching for meaning. This is why the poet is leaning here. This gives that implication. When frost was sculpture grew. This is the atmosphere where the frost, the mist is prevailing. It covers up the atmosphere. Sculpture grey. It is the evening time. Sculpture means forest made the landscape as grey as the ghost. Here is the ghostly atmosphere. Sculpture grey. Grey like ghost. This is the implication. And winter's dregs made desolate the awakening eye of the day. Here awakening eye of the day means the sun, which is going to the beyond the horizon. The sun is setting. The awakening means it is going to end. The day is going to end. And winter dregs is desolate. Dregs means left over bits. Winter left over bits made a desolate kind of atmosphere. Next line. The tangled vine stems filled the sky. And here is the simile. Like strings of broken lyres. And here the poet is drawing the comparison that the tangled vine, that means dried out stems of vine wood. Vine is one kind of tree, and the dry tree, tangled means dry, tree stems scored the sky. It covered up the sky like strings of broken lyre. Lyre is the harp-like instrument, and it has some strings. When the strings are torn off, the situation is like the tangled vine stems, and that kind of situation covered the sky. And all mankind that haunted nigh had thought their household fire. And haunted means worried, very sad, and all mankind that is sad, nigh. Nigh means they are almost near to the sadness. All the mankind near to the sadness had sourced. They found their household fire. They are near the fireside because it is the winter season. It is very cold, and people are in their home and taking rest beside the fire. And this is the scenario, atmosphere where the poem is set.